Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. This still figuring out the using the events thing. There's an extra step that I forgot about until it was too late. And so anyway, we're all good to go now. I don't know, we apologize again for the audio and video syncing issues. I'm trying to get Wirecast set up instead of using OBS. Living on a dime, Tara and Mike use Wirecast and their syncing is perfect. But in my testing this morning, I wasn't getting any audio, so Mike volunteered to help me get that figured out. So when I hear from him, we'll get that worked out. Give me one more second to let me check a setting right here. I'm gonna try a new setting on the audio video offset. And so here's, whoop, that ain't Patti. Sorry. Ha. Here's Patti.
Hey everybody. I'm excited. I have some action going on with my sourdough starter. This is the white flour starter that has no yeast added. And let me see how I can get in here close. You can see this line on the top here. That's bubbles. And then we do have some liquid, which somebody added in. That somebody told us that means it's working. That's not a bad thing. And then you have some sediment on the bottom.
Can you turn it yeah, like that, because
better?
the writing, the raised letters.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can see. You can see it better on the camera right there. So I'm excited. It's nice and bubbly. So we're going to stir it down again. Just stir that in. It's starting to work. So it's smelling sour. Okay. We're going to add our 1/4 cup of water. And stir that in. Soon we'll probably start feeding it a little bit more. Probably our feeding, let's see, tomorrow's Friday. At least by our Sunday feeding, we may feed it, move it up a little bit. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know, we'll see, we'll see. By the way, tomorrow we're not going to be at noon. I'm really not positive what time we're going to be.
Patti has the farmer's market
Yeah.
tomorrow from 7 to sometime afternoon. So it just kind of depends on what time she gets wrapped up. And
1/4 cup of flour. Well, Mama's got a doctor's appointment too.
Yeah, Patti's mom has a doctor's appointment, so it could be later in the afternoon.
Let's set it at 3. I feel like that gives me enough time that.
Okay.
You know, and we're going to talk about when we're going to make our bread, because I'm very encouraged. I'm thinking by Sunday night we might want to go ahead and make our bread up. So we're going to talk about times and stuff like that. What I like to do is to mix it up that night, at nighttime. I mix it up, I let it rise all night, and in the morning I put it into loaves and then let it rise, because I don't want it to keep me up at night having to let it cool where I can wrap it and everything. Okay, now my sugar. We're going to do 1/8 of a cup of sugar again. And stir that in. Now we're done for this. Now, I like, as far as it getting ready and stuff like that, I kind of would like to see, it's here on the jar now. It's up to here. And with it bubbling, I'd like to see it bubble, almost double in size when it's good and bubbly. And then I feel like it's pretty active then. If you have any points or suggestions about that, let me know. You know, I haven't been told that. That's just kind of how I gauge how active it is and everything. Speaking of which, this is the one I started yesterday, but I put my little 1/4 of a teaspoon of yeast in it. And would you look at this? It is already doubled. This is my line, and this is all action here. And it is smelling yeasty. Of course, it's got yeast in it. We're going to stir this down. There was someone said that they started this yesterday, or they added some yeast in yesterday. So I actually did something without y'all. I fed this last night. I saw that it was working a lot and it needed some more feeding, so I went ahead and fed it. This has the yeast in it, so I'm thinking we're gonna need to feed it twice a day. And so this will be my first time to feed it today. I'm actually going to go ahead and change jars. Somebody sent a message and said, could I just split it instead of, you know, cooking with it or throwing some out or whatever before it's ready? Could I just split it and make 2 starters? And the answer is yes. You could even split this small amount. You could split this and get another starter, you know, have 2 going at one time. Or if you wanted to, if it's going pretty good, what I have done before with farmer's market time, because I have let it sit on the counter and forget to feed it and that kind of stuff, what you could do once it's getting to going good is put you some, like in even a 1/2 pint jar, just put it back in the refrigerator. So if something happens to your active starter, you don't have to start from scratch. You have one that's already going. So, okay, we're going to add.
Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back. I was going to say something about that, so go ahead, you got it.
We're going to go ahead and add the water, 1/4 of a cup of water. We actually could be making bread with this one sooner than that one, even though we started this one later, the whole wheat one, because we put the little bit of yeast and it's just made it get active so fast. So, okay, let's see, my flour. And again, if you're just now starting to join us, this is einkorn wheat that I'm using on this one. It's an heirloom wheat. And I do have, I'm not using the wide mouth jar on this one. I'm using a small mouth, so it's hard to get everything in without spilling it. That was a 1/4 of a cup of flour.
Shanna, just stay tuned. There'll be videos for every variation of bread that she makes with the recipes eventually.
And there is some already.
But she was talking about the cinnamon bread.
Well, I think I filmed it. You didn't put it out yet?
It's not done yet.
Oh, okay. With my cinnamon bread, it's really simple. What I do with it, all right, I'll put 1/8 of a teaspoon of sugar. I had tried to do this without sugar, and it was a flop. And somebody said that it might have been because I didn't put the sugar in there. So anyway, I'm putting sugar in for good measure anyway. It won't hurt it. It only helps. So, but I've seen so many recipes that didn't have the sugar. That's why I thought I would try it. Anyway, my cinnamon bread, all I do is I do my dough normal. If you've watched that video, just have my dough, and I'll have me a mound of dough that's ready for a loaf of bread. And instead of shaping it like I do, I pat it out flat on the counter, and I put cinnamon and sugar on it and roll it up jelly roll style, put it in a bread pan, and let it rise and bake it. And I may sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on top once it's done. You know, put butter on top, cinnamon and sugar. And so when you slice it, there's a swirl of cinnamon and sugar. It's not a super sweet bread, but it's a nice bread you could toast in the morning and have butter on it. It's very good. But it's just with the farmer's market, that's a value added. And I'm doing a little bit more work. I make a little bit more money on it. And people just love it. Anyway, that's our einkorn. Nope, that doesn't fit. All right, I'm gonna have to get a new band for this because it's a small mouth jar. But anyway, there you go. We're gonna let that sit, and tomorrow, remember, tomorrow around 3 o'clock, we're gonna try and go live then. And I'm sorry for the time fluctuation. When we set the time, we didn't even think about the farmer's market, but then it has come up. They called yesterday and said Mama's got an appointment tomorrow at 1:45, so there's nothing I can really do about that. But I want to show you, because we've had people ask. Today was my baking day for the farmer's market, and this is a loaf of my sourdough bread that I make. But what I've been asked is, how do I package it for the market? And so I wanted to show you. I've tried to find an unopened box of these, but this shows pretty good here. I get this at Walmart.
Turn it forward just a tad. There you go.
Anyway, this is 2-something for this box, and there's 100 bags in the box. It's twist tie bags. Anyway, and you know, it's just a gallon size bag. Can you see that on the camera?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just a gallon size bag, and all I do is I put my bread in here. Let me get my twist ties over there. I just try and get the air out like this. And you want to have a way to put your bread up too. I use smaller pans, the little disposable pans. I don't dispose of them. I use them for one whole season. We go for about 2 months for our farmers market. It's just easier. I can take the bread. I don't have to let the pans cool to dump the bread out. I immediately take the bread out because I can pull, because you know they're like, it's like souped up tin foils what the pans are. You can pull, it stretches, and I pull the pans open on the ends and sides, and I just dump the bread out, so I can get it cooling a lot quicker. So anyway, but this is what I do. And in our farmers market, we're a certified farmers market, and so we have different rules and regulations that we go by, and one of the rules and regulations is about our labels. And I have labels that Tommy has made up for me that it has our name and our address and our phone number and what this is and our ingredients, and that it's made in a cottage food industry, that's not subject to Mississippi. What, Tommy, what's it say? Not subject to Mississippi
Food inspection laws or something
something
like that?
In other words, letting people know that I made this in my home kitchen.
It's
you know?
it's language that was handed down statutorily. It's
right.
Whatever the law says, that's what's on there.
Right, and so that's what we do. And so anyway, but that's how I package the bread. I package all my bread in this except my cinnamon rolls, and my cinnamon rolls go in sandwich bags that have the flip top sandwich bags.
That's just to clarify, and you may have already clarified, I was reading, but cinnamon rolls, cinnamon bread is 2 different things.
Oh yeah, cinnamon bread's going to be big like this. Well, of course, and I do a smaller loaf of bread too that really sells well at the markets. And I sell this loaf of bread for $4. This is just regular sourdough, and then this bread I sell for $3. And a lot of people pick it up because they don't want to eat this big loaf of bread, because if they buy it, they will eat it. And then sometimes it's just one person that they just want a little bit of bread to eat. The cinnamon bread looks very similar. For the large loaf of cinnamon bread, I get $5, and for the smaller loaf, I get $4. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd give you those little tidbits. Is there any questions, Tommy?
Yeah, we do have a couple of good questions and comments. Before we do that, though, for those of you wondering about the einkorn flour starter that she said she started yesterday and put a little yeast in that, if you are just joining us today, this is your first episode, if you'll go back and look at yesterday, you'll find out why.
Yeah.
We had a bad set of yeast or something. Interestingly, good eye Tams. Tams from Australia has popped in just to share that she must have caught some bad yeast.
Oh,
she or he, I'm sorry. Back to the drawing board. Well, that happened to us yesterday, and it smelled like death. I mean, it smelled like a dead animal. And so, you know, she had to start that over. And in order to kind of catch it up, that's why she put the yeast in it. And so we don't know whether it was the adding the sugar, as someone recommended, or if it was moving it away.
Not adding the sugar. Not adding the sugar.
If it was, what I was going to say was, if it was the adding the sugar that helped it this time, whereas we didn't have sugar in it before, as someone suggested, or moving it away from that window that gets the high heat, but
yeah.
Whichever one it is. One more thing, because two more things, because I cannot forget this, and then we'll talk about questions and comments. The first is, Patti, we've already mentioned that tomorrow we're going to schedule this for 3 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Central, due to an appointment, due to the farmers market tomorrow and an afternoon appointment for Patti's mom. Also, we're going out of town for the weekend, so I don't know that we're going to be able to do shows you know, on this Saturday and Sunday. Just in case we can't, same thing, right?
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss tomorrow if we're going to start adding a little bit more. We may go up to a half a cup on our white starter anyway after tomorrow, because you want it to be fed enough. You know, you want it to have enough to eat. So anyway, because it'll burn itself out looking for food. I'm probably saying all that all wrong, but anyway, that's just a picture of it. So.
Yeah. So we will talk it over about what, if it's at all possible for us to be live on Saturday and Sunday. Chances are it's not. But anyway, we'll give you some more information about that tomorrow. The other little piece of house cleaning I have is there's 2 viewers that I need to speak to specifically out there who have given great comments on the YouTube videos, and it must be something in your privacy settings that's not allowing me to even like your comment or reply back. I click the like button and then it shows that I liked it, and then it goes away. I type a comment and it fails to post a comment, and it's only you. Those 2 users or viewers are C. Manina. Others that have commented on the videos may be wondering, why is he ignoring her excellent comments? I'm not. I can't. It's not allowing me.
Trust me, he's not ignoring them. He has tried numerous times to make his comment back.
Yeah. So, which brings up a good point. If you leave a comment on one of our videos, you can expect a reply within a couple of days. We try really hard. We appreciate the time, the extra time it takes to log in and comment on the videos. And so we want to reply or at least like every comment that comes up. So if you don't get a reply within a couple of days, heck, email me at tommy@aldermanfarms.net. But it could be one of these type of problems. Therese, I can't remember Therese's last name, but she gave me a great information about a technical glitch I was having that I didn't know about, and I couldn't thank her. C. Manina gave an interesting tip that I want to share here. She was talking about the old days of yeast, that people used to capture wild yeast by putting certain fruits in water with some sugar added for a while. I don't remember if she said overnight or if she even said how long, and then they would use that water as their sourdough starter, because apparently it's a yeast trap. So I don't know about that.
Well, on the skins of fruit and everything, I believe there's yeast there, already.
Well, that was her point. So okay, let me. I talked about Tam's disaster with the bad yeast. Hang in there, Tams.
Yeah.
You can do it. Yeah, try it with adding sugar but not adding yeast. I think that would be a first good step to try. Let me scroll back up a little bit.
This is the little pans I'll show you while he's looking that I've talked about that I bake my bread in. And anyway, and like I said, I'm selling this, so I have some bigger pans that I put my bread in for us. And then sometimes I use this too because it is easy. You see how this will move. I just pull this and straight out of the oven. I set them all on the counter. I can take them with my hands real quick and do like that, and then I can dump it out. So anyway.
Michelle's Crafts and More just comments that when it gets near the top of the jar, she doesn't have a larger container to put it in, and she needs to order a 1-gallon crock from King Arthur Flour. Somebody else yesterday, I think it was, mentioned using a crock.
Yes, you can do that. I also have I have some 1-gallon jars. I purchased some. They actually have a half-gallon jar too that's really good for this. If you look at your local Walmart, or if you have Fred's or Dollar Store, if they carry canning supplies, a lot of times they'll have it's just like this jar, and so you can use your lids on it. It's a wide mouth jar, but it's actually a half a gallon, and so I like to use that. And of course, I think I showed y'all yesterday for the farmers market, I use a gallon jar. Right now I only made enough bread like for a 12 loaf batch, but at certain times I do it for 24 loaves, and so I need a lot of starter for that, and so I use that gallon jar. But you don't have to have a crock. It would be nice to have a crock. I wouldn't mind having a crock too.
So noted.
And pickle jars too. If you know anybody that buys pickles in bulk, you can use pickle jars. I've used that too.
Yeah, we make our own pickles, but we have bought gallons of pickles before, and you use some after they are sterilized. You use some of those.
Yeah, and if people know that you would like that, they'll save them for you too. So.
Yeah, put the word out. People are great. They're glad to get rid of it. Brenda Collins says, can you hold back a small portion of the starter or the dough and continue the starter? like I get, when you're ready to bake bread.
Yeah, and that's what we'll do. Like right now, I think if y'all started with me from day one, we have, I think this is about a cup or a little more. We have enough to do a batch of bread. I don't think it's quite active enough because you saw our little bubbles. Now by today or tomorrow, it may be active enough to raise our bread. But when we make our bread, we won't be using all of our starter. We will actually use part of our starter, and then we will feed our, if you don't want to make bread for a while, put your starter up in the refrigerator. When you gets close to time to make bread again, take your starter out, start feeding it, get it active again, make your bread. So no, we're not going to ever use all of our starter because the longer you have it, the longer you feed it, the more flavor it will develop. Good flavor. So.
And speaking of taking the starter out of the fridge, we had a nice email from a viewer who doesn't have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very nice.
Just sent us a very nice. Just almost made us blush. It was so nice.
Very kind.
But I think it was her that mentioned that when she takes hers out, she'll run it under some warm water.
It was her. In fact, she said too, somebody had commented that their temperature was 72. I can't remember. That was yesterday. Wanting to know if that was warm enough.
Might have been Tam's or in Australia, or was it?
I think it was
somebody from Vermont.
I think it was because I think they're having winter now in Australia. I think that's what it was. Anyway, her suggestion is to get a bowl of warm water, and you can set your jar in the bowl of warm water. So that made a lot of sense. And two, if you have an oven that has a light on in it and everything, of course you don't want this temperature to be really, really hot for this, because that a lot of heat could maybe kill your starter too. But there's other creative ways, but that was a great idea, especially when you're taking it out of the refrigerator to go ahead. I will use that tip because so many times, because I made bread today. Last night I mixed it up. I put my starter back in the refrigerator. Well, sometimes it gets to be Tuesday and I should be feeding my starter and it's in the refrigerator cold. So I will definitely use that tip to take it out, put it in a bowl of warm water, and it'll quickly, get it to where it's not refrigerator cold, and it'll get active a lot quicker. So.
Kitty's Homestead says here in New Jersey it's not legal to sell any food made outside of a commercial kitchen. Mm-hmm. We can give a suggested donation for home baked goods, and they're working to change that, however. Yeah, you know what? Good. I don't know if you saw, I posted a video recently where I was invited to participate in a roundtable discussion with the Mississippi Food Policy Council and the Mississippi Sustainable Agricultural Network. I encourage you to go watch that. It's 13 minutes long. I ramble a little, but do a Google search, and you may have already, but there may be groups within New Jersey or wherever your state is, because you're not the only one, that are working to change those things. And in fact, you said that you're working to change it, so you're probably doing that already. But hey, keep going, because the cottage food law that allows Patti to sell her bread like she does has only been in effect a couple of years or 3 years.
Yeah, well, at first, in the beginning, we've been going. This market is in its 9th year, and I started the first year. And at that time, there was no rules, no regulations over it or anything. And so I was able to do it. Now, about 4 to 5 years ago, they came up with these new regulations where we had to go take a course. They had to come in and certify my kitchen, which it was no big deal.
They tested the water.
They tested the water. They want to make sure that you don't have your dogs eating in your kitchen and feeding your animals in the kitchen and stuff. Which Mama doesn't have dogs here. I bake at my mom's house, and so we do have dogs at our house.
We got enough dogs for both of us.
Yeah, but anyway, so they don't come over. When it's baking day, I typically try not to have them over at all. But anyway, there's different regulations. That was just for 1 year. I went through all the classes, and honestly, I was almost scared to eat my canned food after going to that, because I had to go through the acidification class too about doing canned foods, because I was thinking of selling them and everything, but they scared me to death, of eating my own food. But anyway, because of all the stuff. But anyway, I don't buy a lot of other people's stuff because you don't know how other people do things. in their kitchen, and if they do the hot water bath, if they do the pressure canner when it's suggested or whatever. But anyway, I eat my canned food now, but it did kind of freak me out there for a little while. But now it's just that we have to make that statement on there, made in a cottage food operation that's not subject to Mississippi.
Whatever it says.
Whatever it says, yeah.
Hey Blake, good to see you. Thanks, Blake Kirby, friend Blake Kirby, a member of the Homestead Bloggers Network. So it's really cool to see you guys doing live shows. Nice work. So what are you waiting on, pal? It's your turn now. Heather's excited, just made it, had a baby that needed nursing and wouldn't go to sleep. Boy, do we remember those days.
Yes.
Let's see, Wayne's Homestead. Where did it go? It was right there a moment ago. Give me a second. There it is. Sometimes sells bread and eggs at their local flea market.
But who was it? It was in New York or New Jersey?
That was New Jersey.
But you know, thank God that you have a little loophole where you can do donations. I know it's still kind of hard. It's better to be able to set your price and everything, but that is a little loophole that you're able to do that. Yeah. And how common, tell me, in New Jersey, how common is sourdough? Here in Mississippi, people love sourdough. Not everybody makes it, but it's an old time thing. The old timers used to do it. That's where, I learned to make it from Tommy's aunt. She's passed away now. But, there's not many people around here that make it, especially that's my age. How common is it in New Jersey? I mean, is it a rarity where y'all are from?
By the way, Tam's in Australia said that it was Tam. Excuse me, talking about the cooler temperatures, and
okay.
Thanks for that tip.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I can't. We've just started this, and I'm sure we're going to get to know y'all as y'all are getting to know us. But it's hard for us to remember, your names, and I'm always bad with names. Anyway, I remember Tam's. I ought to be able to remember Tam's from Australia. I remember our Australia friend anyway.
It's hard for me to remember what I had for breakfast. In fact, Tam said in Australia they can have a home kitchen, but it has to meet the same certification as a commercial kitchen.
Wow.
And Kitty clarified that it's worse than that in New Jersey. There's no exception for that. You have to have a full certified kitchen to cook in. So
wow.
Let's see. Okay, let's see. Man, Brenda, in their town, they have to have 5 continuous acres to have chickens.
Wow.
I actually talk about that in the video I told you a minute ago to go check out, where I was at the Food Policy Council, because they were, the focus of the Food Policy Council, which is good. They're doing good work. So this is not at all meant to say they need to be doing something different. Not that. They're working on trying to get small farmers, make it easier for small farmers to bring their goods to the community. But I did bring up in the meeting and mention it on the video that the regulations like that's ridiculous. There's no legitimate reason why every person living in a city cannot have 2 or 3 chickens in their own backyard.
Chickens, not roosters.
You don't have to have roosters to get eggs.
That's right.
I could understand roosters, a rooster may become a nuisance, but
right.
The Food Policy Council is all about local food, and again, that's a good thing. Here at Alderman Farms, we like to talk about hyper-local food. The fewer steps a man or woman has to take to find nutritious food, the better. And the fewest you can possibly take is right out your back door. So, all right, let's see. This is a good group, Cindy. Cindy notes everybody's been so kind and thoughtful. It's a good group.
Yes, very nice. We appreciate y'all so much, and the encouragement y'all offer to us is just overwhelming.
It really is. Florida adopted a cottage food law 4 or 5 years ago. Kitty says, can you store your starter outside where it's warmer? Do you mean like outside? Outside
the refrigerator.
You mean outside of the refrigerator or outside of your house, Kitty? Patti, just handle both.
Oh, well,
I mean,
not to store it, because it's going to stay active. By putting it in the refrigerator, you're making it go dormant, where it's not active and eating, and everything. So by keeping it where it's warmer, whether it's inside or outside, and where's Kitty? Is Kitty's asking?
Kitty's in New Jersey.
In New Jersey. You know, Kitty, I really don't know at what temperature would be okay for, y'all's temperature is so different than ours for the wintertime and everything. I don't know. I mean, we use wood burn and heat to heat, so we have cooler areas in our house. I still wouldn't trust leaving my starter out in Mississippi now in New Jersey
Or in Australia.
or Australia. I really don't know. That's a Google question, I guess, as to at what temperature does your starter have to be where it will be dormant.
Yeah,
So.
not sure. By the way, Kitty, just y'all, there's apparently a huge delay between what I'm saying right this second and when you're hearing and seeing it, because Kitty just replied, or we just got Kitty's reply that sourdough is not common at all up there, which is why she's
Really?
why she's
Wow.
watching.
Okay.
Yeah, she says no, outside, like on a table out my back door to get it active. Well,
to get it active.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant to store it to keep it while you weren't using it. No, to get it, oh yeah, I wouldn't put it in direct sunlight. If it's warmer outside, if that's what you're saying, if because it's warmer outside to help it to go, yes, most definitely, just not in direct sunlight.
Yeah. And Jan makes a good point that I should have mentioned. Check with your county extension office if you're having some questions about what we were talking about. Ability to sell baked goods and things. Check with your county extension office, because they should, if they don't have the information you need, they will know where to get it. And they have it. That's where we got the information here.
Yeah, our county extension agent, Rebecca Bates, actually is the one that started our Brookhaven Farmers Market. And so she has just been, she's the one that put it all together and everything and got us the certification to be a certified market. And that by being a certified market, we're on a lot of different web pages and stuff like that. And we do follow their regulations, which is, sometimes a little more stringent and everything. But it's a good thing. But yeah, your county extension agent is a very, very valuable source, and we have the best though. We have Rebecca.
We do. Rebecca's awesome. Rebecca, you're awesome if you're watching this. Hey, Bonnie Dixon chimed in and said Bonnie had let us know a few days ago that she was going to use pineapple juice instead of water, and she chimed in with some exclamation points that the pineapple juice is working. But it makes sense because it's got sugar in it.
Yeah.
Bonnie, I know it'll take you a second. It's a fruit too. Yeah, I know that's true. I know it'll take you a few seconds to respond, but did you also add sugar or just leave it with the sugar that was in the pineapple juice? I'd like to know that.
Yeah, the natural sugars. I'm actually a friend of ours that we go to church with. Her father passed away, and I don't usually cut my bread up to sell it. But I'm bringing this to their house for them, so that's why I'm cutting up the bread this time for this loaf of bread. So anyway, I guess I should have showed you a piece. This is what you'll have to look forward to: some nice sourdough bread.
Yummy. Well, we're gonna start talking about shutting down here. We'll see if Bonnie catches up with us. If the video is. So, okay, she did add sugar. Great, perfect timing. Okay. She did add sugar.
All right.
So, again, thank you guys. It's been awesome. We appreciate your support, and it just still blows our mind every day when we think that there's anybody out there who gives a rip about what we're doing, and your comments and your emails and your chat comments are just so edifying and affirming, and we appreciate it, and we will let you know tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central, I will set up an event like I did today, and hopefully I'll remember how to make that work right. And we'll see you at 3 p.m. tomorrow instead of noon, that's Central Time, and we'll tell you about what's going to happen, if anything, Saturday or Sunday. Okay? So I'm going to stop the streaming right now.
Well, I wanted to...
Oh, wait. No, I'm not. I'm going to go back to Patti.
One thing, let's go ahead and start looking for a bigger jar. This does not need to be switched to a bigger jar today. After tomorrow, it may need to be. So go ahead and look for a bigger jar, unless you want to split it and start feeding it and split this and have 2 jars going at one time, which would be perfectly fine. So anyway, we will see you tomorrow. Hope you have a great day.
Yep, Orphan Lady says we give a rip. Appreciate that. Blessings from Niagara Falls. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Jan, she got it at Walmart. Jan want to know where you got your packaging for the market.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, Walmart.
You want to show that box again one more time?
Yeah, and look, sometimes
Twist
Sometimes
forward.
it sometimes it has blueberries on it. I think that's bagels
Yeah.
on it. It says twist tie. There's 100 bags in here, so.
Yeah, Tams gets to sleep in tomorrow. She'll
Yay.
be tuning in at breakfast time. All right, another problem I've been having when I sign off of this thing is that I'm trying to I never hit the button before I stop talking or before Patti stops talking. But when the video renders, it cuts off before we get the word out. So I'm fixing to say bye at the count of 3, and then I'm gonna wait a few seconds before I hit stop, all right? So see you later, bye.
1, 2, 3.